Hello and welcome to Sports Updates on Nigeria Live TV. We have a lot to talk about today, from the Prosperity Cup to the NPFL. We'll also take you through the English Premier League, and of course not forgetting that there are games to be played in the UEFA Champions League today. But on the home front, the Prosperity Cup is actually heating up. We saw one semi-final game yesterday between Okoroma United and MLDM FC. It ended 3-2 in favor of Oklahoma United. It was a tense game, back and forth, but at the end, Oklahoma United advanced. Today, we'll see the other semi-final game between Akinima or Biogbo taking on Crusaders FC. So that's going to be another interesting fixture. That game probably already started at the Samson Siasia Sports Stadium. It's going to be interesting for Crusaders. Of course, they are the more experienced side, so you want to fancy them to get through to the final, where they will face Okoroma United. But that's about the Prosperity Cup. We're also going to be seeing one game to be played in the NPFL today, where we'll see Ikorodu City take on Wiki Tourist. For Ikorodu City, of course, they are pushing for the place in the CAF Confederations Cup, and of course for Wiki Tourist, they are looking for a chance to escape the drop this season, because they are currently 19th on the NPFL standings, so they are really looking for an exit route for them. But away from Nigerian football, we'll take you through the English Premier League. We saw action yesterday in the English Premier League, where two games were played. For Chelsea FC, they lost at home to Nottingham Forest. It ended 3-1. For Forest, they actually were leading 3-0 at some point before Chelsea pulled one back, but it was only a consolation goal. But the big one yesterday in the English Premier League was the game between Everton and Manchester City. Of course, a very big fixture that potentially could decide the title race this season in the Premier League. But for Manchester City, they couldn't get the much needed victory at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. They played out a 3-all draw with Everton last night. And of course, Arsenal are going to be really happy about the outcome of that game. And that's the race for the title at this point, with 3 games to play. Arsenal, of course, having to play West Ham, Burnley, and Crystal Palace. They will face West Ham away, Burnley at home, and then Crystal Palace on the final day away from home. And of course, Manchester City will face Brentford, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, and of course, they have one game against Aston Villa. That's the final game against Aston Villa. But at this stage, it's pretty much Arsenal's advantage. It's their title to lose at this point, because for City, they had the opportunity to equal Arsenal, at least take the points to within 3 points, and of course with one game to play, they had that standing match where they could have equaled Arsenal. But at this point, with just 3 games to play for Arsenal, should they win all their remaining fixtures, of course, it is their title to lose at this point. But away from the Premier League, of course, the big one for tonight, we will be seeing Champions League football, the semi-final games. Of course, for Arsenal, talking about Arsenal, they will be playing against Atletico Madrid in tonight's UEFA Champions League semi-final fixture. And then tomorrow we'll see FC Bayern Munich take on Paris Saint-Germain. But for Arsenal against Atletico Madrid, of course, they played a 1-all draw in the first leg, so it's still pretty open. But considering the fact Arsenal will be playing at the Emirates Stadium, that's an advantage for them. I always say when the team is playing the second leg at home, it's a big advantage. It's almost like you're writing an examination and you've seen the exam scripts, the exam questions before the examination. So they have the advantage. The fans will be behind them when Atletico Madrid visits tonight. But it's not going to be easy, I must say. It's going to be pretty difficult. But I really do fancy Arsenal to get past Atletico Madrid and make it to the semi-final, to the final, I beg your pardon. But the other game we will see tomorrow, of course, Paris Saint-Germain and Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena. It's going to be interesting, because both teams actually played a 9-goal thriller in the first encounter. And of course, they want to at least book their place into the final. But for Bayern Munich, they currently have that 1-goal deficit, and they would want to believe they can overturn it. They have the firepower, of course, to do the job, but they're not going to be facing an easy team when Paris Saint-Germain visits. But this is where we have to draw the curtain on the program today. But I do hope you have an amazing day. Of course, we'll be anticipating the action for tonight. So until next time, I hope you have a good one.